Here to chat with us a little more about the situation our province faces is Ontario Minister of Energy and Mines, Stephen Lecce, who recently just added mines to his portfolio. Minister, welcome.
Thanks so much, Ian. Good to be back.
Minister, from your perspective, I'm wondering, we're seeing markets again plunge today. More tariffs are expected this week. A lot of people here depend on mining for their jobs. How worried should we be?
I think the world is right to be concerned about these tariffs. Tariffs are fundamentally attacks on consumers. It's going to hurt America's economy. And of course, we're feeling the reverberation of that economic decline and contraction around the world, including in Canada. So we are, of course, concerned by this, what could only be termed a reorientation of the global trading system. What I can assure you, though, is that Canada's fundamentals and Ontario's fundamentals are strong. We have one of the largest bounties of critical minerals. We have free trade access to over 40 large growing economies. We, of course, are building large-scale infrastructure, the largest of its kind on the continent, which is going to help put people to work and help ensure we really retrain those individuals who may lose jobs in traditional sectors. And more importantly than anything else, it's the Premier today making another investment, really putting billions of dollars on the table to signal to the workers, to the industries. Some of them are historic industries that have been part of Canada since before our Confederation, that we will stand by them, we will support them, and we will ensure their viability in an increasingly difficult geopolitical world. But this creates an opportunity for Canada, and I want us to lean into the fact that the world is looking for Canadian resources, that the United States needs critical minerals, and contrary to what the president may claim, he needs it. He needs our resources. They are 100% dependent on China for some of the most important critical minerals. I think about gallium and graphite, among others, where Ontario has all of the above. And so we are going to be loud and proud to promote our industry, stand by our workers, and get our resources to market.
Well, let's talk about that maybe on the flip side. If not the Americans, if they hold firm for some reason, where else can we send our nickel? Because the Ontario Mining Association said only 25% is only domestic mineral exports. That leaves a lot to the Americans.
Yeah, the Sudbury Basin has some of the highest grade nickel, class one nickel on Earth, with significant refinery that's taking place, or rather processing that's taking place. So we do believe that there are export markets that are interested in our product, and we have been forging relationships in the Asia Pacific, in Europe, and many other economies who know that they could depend on Canada. We are a dependable, democratic ally, and we, more importantly, have the product, we have the human capital, and we have the license to do this. And so I think what you should expect of government is that we're going to work together with private industry, with Indigenous leaders and communities and workers and private sector unions to export our product to the world and move forth with a sense of urgency in this new geopolitical climate. Recognizing that the world has changed since the election of President Trump, we have a huge nation building opportunity to level up. And that means we've got to accelerate our permitting process. It means we have to have a more nimble regulatory system. It means that we have to get shovels in the ground.
I'm down to 30 seconds or here I want to just quickly ask you, and I know this is not probably a quick answer, but I know the Premier's been quoted as saying, hey, he'll stockpile the nickel here in Sudbury if he has to. Would critical minerals still be used as a tool by the Premier or the Prime Minister if they have to be?
Look, our preference actually is to get a deal with the President Trump. I mean, the whole point of using the energy surcharge was to get the president's attention, which frankly worked. And thus, we've been able to move away from a war of words that has market impacts and get to the negotiating table. So our priority is to land a deal, the Canada-US trade deal, that allows the continued unfettered access of resources, energy, goods, manufactured materials, services, etc., to move back and forth without tariffs, without taxes, without barriers to economic growth. That's actually going to be our priority, and that's where we're going to emphasize much of our attention over the coming weeks. Land a better deal that protects our jobs and stands up for our economic sovereignty as Canadians.
Minister Lecce, thank you.
Thank you.
That's Minister Stephen Lecce, Ontario's Minister of Energy and Mines. And we've got more on the provincial government's efforts amid this trade war with the U.S., including that relief Siobhan spoke of in her report. You can find it all by heading to our website at ctvnewsnorthernontario.ca.